It's good to know you have joined us on Insight today. Today on Insight, we will be talking safety. Sometime we told you, do you eat right or do you eat junk? Even if we have produced enough food in the country that talked about food sufficiency, food security, how safe is what we eat? Our focus on discussion segment on Insight is the National Biosafety Management Agency in Nigeria. Are they up to speed with the mandate they have in law to regulate GMOs in Nigeria? And on media review? On media review, we would be looking into local content promotion as the Executive Order 5 was recently signed by Mr. President. I'm talking about President Muhammad Buhari. And this has to do with promoting local content in Nigeria. And so my guest is Matthias Okwe. He is the Assistant Business Editor with the Guardian newspaper. Stay tuned. I hope in discussing this, you also look at in terms of how is the media going to assess the capacity of the local contractors, the local engineers, because that's a concern with regards to this executive order. Because if you say, don't give it to foreigners, are our people ready for it? Do they have the capacity?
That's actually the big question.
To specifications?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. With that, you now know that Insight today will be very, very insightful. Don't stray steps away. Up next on the program is the discussion segment. Most often we hear water everywhere, yet no water to drink, and you find governments across the globe doing everything to provide water. Same for food. We produce food, but the question is, how sufficient is the food? Some countries, for instance, India has produced enough to consume and is even exporting. Where is Nigeria regarding food sufficiency? The current administration is talking about diversification of the economy, and now they are talking about consuming what we produce. If by the time we get there, we produce enough to consume and enough to export, how safe is what we are eating? Are you eating right? Even when you're eating right, how healthy is it? And now one agency that is saddled with the responsibility to ensure safety in Nigeria is the National Biosafety Management Agency. A lot of arguments for and against GMOs has been there, but this agency has been established to ensure that GMOs in Nigeria are the proper ones in the country. That is focused on Insight today, the National Biosafety Management Agency. Are they up to speed with the mandate they have in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I have the Director General and CEO of that agency, Dr. Rufus Ebegba. Thanks for joining me in Insight.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Let me go straight. The National Biosafety Management Agency says that it is well positioned to effectively manage and ensure safety in the application of modern biotechnology and use of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria. How true is this?
You are right with what you have read. The National Biosafety Management Agency, being a new agency, just about 2.5 years old, we have been able to bring to the fore the issues of safety as concerned genetically modified organisms and the practice of modern biotechnology, which lead to the production of genetically modified organisms. We have, as a matter of fact, been able to set the platform. Relevant regulations are in place, guidelines are in place, staff of the agency are in place, and apart from this being in place, they are well trained. I can tell you they are some of the best trained biosafety officers in Africa. And apart from that, we have what is called the Genetically Modified Organism Detection Analysis Laboratory. It's one of the best too in Africa. I say these things with all sense of modesty. And the level of exposure we have had over the years to really put Nigeria at the forefront in Africa in the area of biosafety regulation is very, very clear. The issues people talk about whether Nigeria is prepared or not prepared to regulate this sector. The agency is adequately prepared to regulate this sector and to ensure Nigerians do not eat what is not safe as concerning genetically modified organisms. The agency is well prepared to ensure safety to Nigerians' health and to the environment. Okay, so since your establishment and now, what's the story so far in terms of maybe implementation, enforcement, prosecution? Are these testimonies on ground already? Yes, since the establishment of the agency, prior to the establishment of the agency, there were some approvals by the Ministry of Environment on confined feed trials of genetically modified organisms. We have decided to revalidate these approvals. Some that are still ongoing, we have decided to give them new terms and conditions in line with the Act. We have also reviewed the National Biosafety Management and National Biosafety Policy, and the Federal Executive Council graciously approved that in December. And apart from that, we have also been able to develop some regulations in pursuant to the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015. Guidelines have been developed, new staff have been recruited, and training upon training are ongoing. In Africa, we are also playing a major role in the area of ensuring that there is a regional collaboration when it comes to biosafety. We are also playing a major role too in West Africa because we are very proactive and involved in the development of common biosafety regulation in the sub-region. And we'll come back to Nigeria, the issue of genetically modified foods. We have been able to have started the process of profiling and ensuring that it's only those food that are genetically modified that are safe will be allowed in this country. We are working with sister agencies like NAFDAC and other agencies that are involved in the area of seeds, like the National Seed Council. And also the Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service, we are working closely with them. We are also working with the Nigerian Customs Service. We are not at the border for now, and we have to also work closely with those border agencies. And recently, we had cause to intercept a shipload of genetically modified maize, working closely with Custom. This was repatriated, and we made sure that the importer follow the right procedure before these things are brought in. We had to request them to be repatriated, and you can see what it must have caused the importer to have brought that in without the approval. The importer, though, alleged that they were not aware of a law of such. And ignorance of the law is not an excuse. We had the ship to be repatriated because there was no biosafety permit. Then the importer further applied, and it followed the due process, and we further granted the permit to that to ensure that these processes are streamlined and these products are tested to be safe before they are brought into this country. And the area of food being sold in the superstores, we have heard a lot of complaints in that regard, and we presently working closely with the superstores to ensure that due process is followed and these foods are tested before they are allowed to be brought into the supermarkets. Okay. And I want to also quickly add, I also want to use this medium to advise importers of grains, particularly maize, soya bean, and other that have been genetically modified. Quite a number of these products are coming to this country, and we will not hesitate to prosecute anyone found bringing in these things into the country.
Okay, let me quickly comment there. I am worried about or concerned about an issue here. Now, you work with sister agencies, you talk about the quarantine service, customs, NAFDAC. Now, you are not at the borders, the entry points. You are also not at the ports.
You are not.
So, how will you be able to intercept? Maybe it was through maybe intelligence, you got information about the ship.
Yeah.
Now, if by chance you didn't get information about the ship, what is the consequence if that ship had entered the country? With the volume of maize you talked about.
The volume of, the such consignment, if they come into this country without them being tested for safety, it will be very difficult for us to really trace them, because you cannot really differentiate between genetically modified or products and the ones that are not genetically modified unless you subject them to tests. That would have been very, very unfortunate. But I believe the sister agencies have a responsibility towards this country. And we have signed MOU with some of them, but the custom, we are at the advanced stage of signing MOU with Nigerian Customs Service. Once that is, despite the fact that we didn't sign MOU with custom, we wrote to them, telling them once the bulk shipment of such products are coming to the maize, soya, and other are coming to this country, we should be alerted. We are alerted, and we continue to believe we'll work closely with those agencies. And one thing again is that, in as much as we want the agency to be at the border, if we are sure of the sister agencies collaborating, there may be no need for us to be at the border, because when there are too many agencies at the border, there is this executive order of ease of business, and when there are too many agencies doing the same similar thing, it becomes too cumbersome for those who want to do business in the country. But be rest assured that the sister agencies we are working with, we still have faith in them, and we believe they will work closely with us to ensure that we have a holistic biosafety in the country.
Okay. Now, the argument worldwide is still raging between GMOs and organic foods. I know your own agency is to ensure safety. But the question basically in Nigeria is that some school of thought allege or believe that you are in collaboration with some cartel outside the country to put Nigeria as a dumping ground for things that are not needed elsewhere. Is this true?
Well, yes, this particular issue has been raging. But in a situation where you do not really trust, you don't trust what government can do for you, and you decide to trust those who go to the internet and copy and paste misinformation, I think it's unfortunate. Every advanced country in the world, the citizens give opportunity to their government agencies to function effectively. I can tell you there is a trade war ongoing. There is the organic aspect of it, then you have agrochemical sector, then you have the biotechnology sector. In the situation that the biotech sector is now coming out with products that are insect resistant, disease resistant, what do you think the organic company, the organic farmers who feel that they want to sell their products at a high premium, and the agrochemical companies that want to sell their products, and suddenly there's a product saying that you don't need the chemicals anymore? We are looking towards an environment where there will be less use of chemicals. And I believe that all genetically modified organisms that we confirm safe, Nigerians should believe and trust in us and be able to give the right judgment to them. We do not collude with anybody. The interests of our country should be paramount in our minds. Every Nigerian should see his country as a nation to be protected. Then coupled with the responsibility of an agency, integrity is there. If I say something that is not right today, tomorrow, I'll be held accountable. All our judgments are going to be based on scientific, verifiable evidence. They are not going to be based on rumors or emotions. The issue of whether the NBMA is collaborating with cartel, I can assure you that does not arise. I know there is a deliberate effort by one particular environmental group that has made up its mind to vilify and discredit the agency. People should ask some of those people, how do they survive? They see activism as a means of livelihood. It is not the best. They should see their country as their first interest before you work for their stomachs. So as a matter of fact, people will not come up with trumped-up allegations because of their personal interests, and they expect government agencies to succumb to them. I think the NBMA, what we owe Nigerians the responsibility to ensure that these products are safe to the environment and they are also safe for their health. Okay,
agreed. Some persons are still not sure to agree with you or not in terms of what your agency is doing. But sometimes we were spotted in some streets, in some cities in Nigeria, on a uniform enforcing, on an enforcement mission. Yeah. So the concern now is, if a patriotic Nigerian maybe is suspicious of a particular agency that is bringing unsafe GMOs into the country, how do they get across to you? Or how can your agency be reached? The national spread in the country?
The National Biosafety Management Agency will have the headquarters for now. Though for paucity of funds, we have not been able to spread to other parts of the country. That is why we are signing a memorandum of understanding with a similar agency like Quarantine Service, NAFDAC, to work closely with these agencies. And apart from that, we are also trying to work with the states for them to have biosafety desk offices, so that they can be collaborating with the agency, so that we can have proximity to the people at the grassroots. And for the issue of reaching the agency, we have a website, and the National Biosafety Management Agency, one policy we have is that you can walk into the agency within the official hours. Anytime, there's no official, they say this is visiting hour, this is no visiting hour. You can come to the agency as from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. any day. We don't have restriction of people coming to the agency. And again, from time to time, we'll come out with press releases, press statements to let Nigerians understand what we are doing and the position of things. For us to be reached is very, very easy. My phone numbers are everywhere. People can reach me. Even if you call me and I don't answer immediately, I want to have your name on that number, I still call back. So our website is very easy for everyone to access.
So beyond the safety you implement, why are GM foods produced?
Why are they produced?
Yes, why are they produced?
Well, see, science and innovation Scientific innovation and technological
I know some people will be asking, why is he asking these questions? But
yes, yes. You see, science and technology are drivers of change. Any country in the world that wants to survive must see innovation as a major tool to drive such economy. Scientific innovation will continue to emerge. And I can tell you in the next 5 years, the issue of GMOs will be coming out. In fact, right now there are more advanced genetically modified processes that are emerging. So this issue, because present GMOs are about 21 years old now, almost 20-something years old, 22 years old. And we are still saying that Nigeria does not have the competence to regulate it. People come out with innovations because of needs, because of economic requirement and other, to solve some problems. And I believe science and technology are here to really make man's living environment a better place. And with security, ensuring safety of it. Like in case of Nigeria, the issue of modern biotechnology and its products. The federal government has about 15 agri-research institutes. We have colleges of agriculture. We have conventional universities and other concerns.
Are they in sync with you?
Yes, these ones, they are to develop the technology, and what we do is to regulate them. Okay. So the government has these institutions, and also private people also involved in these things. So, and government has established the National Biosecurity Management Agency to ensure that the activities and their products are safe. I think government has put in place all the relevant valves for safety. So the issue of the fear of this technology, Nigerians should not be afraid. They should not be deterred by the threats or the fears being created in their minds by some group of people. The agency will tell them what is safe and what is not safe. And I believe they should believe us and trust us. Because government putting such institution in place is to ensure safety. Okay. And I think the trust of the people is required.
The other concern actually is that the fear of the fact that government says we are diversifying the economy from a monoculture to an agricultural-based economy. Yeah. And the bulk of the farmers we have in Nigeria, both the very young farmers who are the very productive sectors, productive set of the economy, are into organic farming. And if you suddenly bring GMO into the country, they feel threatened.
You see, I wouldn't want to talk much on this. When people say organic farming, I don't know what they mean by organic farming. There is no, let me tell you one thing. All the agricultural products you have presently in the world, they have all undergone various, evolution, either through man-induced or through natural cause. There is none. It is the way it was created by God. All of them have undergone changes. So when you're talking about organic farming, yes, most of the agriculture you have, I don't think there's anybody is practicing organic farming in Nigeria. So when people are talking about, like talking about hybrid, these hybrids have also undergone modification in one form or the other. But when you talk about modern biotechnology, it goes beyond the conventional modification we're talking about. So they are all newly bred varieties of products we have in the market. So when people are saying, why are we talking about GMOs? The agency is not to promote GMOs, but all we are here is to tell them that where these things are in place, we are here to ensure that they are safe. And they should believe whatever we're saying when it comes to that sector. I know people doubt government agencies here and there, but over time we understand that government has best intention for the people.
So ultimately, I know that nothing good comes that easy.
Yeah.
And this thing is still looked from a point of suspicion. But I believe it's permeating into the fabrics of the country now. This is the space you have now to conscientize Nigerians on the need to welcome what you're doing. So sustaining what you're saying now, what will you add to it?
What I will tell Nigerians, government has other research institutes, the National Biotechnology Development Agency, and other concerns that will be doing these products. These products, people have said they are not safe, but others have said these are some of the best regulated products in the world. And I can tell you, the regulation of genetically modified organisms, there are a lot of scrutiny, more than any other product you can ever. And all the ones that so far we have approved in this country, they are for experimental purposes, apart from some for commercial release and a recent one for feed meal. All these ones we have approved. I can tell you they are safe.
Okay. So that someone will not get confused. At times people get confused in your agency and the biotech. So your own is biosafety.
Yes.
So
the
when we
National
say
Biotechnology
safety,
Development Agency is to promote the technology, to produce products that are genetically modified or come out biotech products. Why the National Biosafety Management Agency is to ensure that the practice that leads to the production of genetically modified organisms, the practice itself is safe, and also the products are also safe to the environment and human health. So ours is to ensure that these products are safe. We do not promote it. At the same time, we do not go against it. And let me also make it very, very clear. The impression is that the National Biosafety Management Agency is here to stop GMOs. We are not here to stop GMOs. We are here to ensure that they are safe. The ones that we stop are the ones we are not convinced that they are safe. So whatever we say, before we can come out with any product, we do what's called risk analysis. And we compare them with the conventional ones and the genetically modified to make sure that they are all, they don't have differences from the ones that have been modified and the ones that are not being modified. So the agency does a lot, and people should visit our lab and see what we are doing.
Okay, let's break it down a bit.
Yeah.
There are some produce that are largely consumed in Nigeria. Let's use rice, let's use plantain, let's use for the fruit, tomato, all that. So for the case of rice, tomato, in terms of safety, if say, okay, I want to go in for GMO now, what are those safety parameters you look for to disqualify maybe tomato, to disqualify maybe rice not to be consumed in Nigeria?
Let me also say that the current rice in the commercial quantity, they are not genetically modified. Even the tomato we have in Nigeria, they are not genetically modified. The orange, there are very few crops that are genetically modified. The crops that have been genetically modified include maize, canola, soya bean, sugar beet, and some other ones, and most of these are not in this country. The few ones that are coming to this country that we have cause to suspect are soya bean and maize. And we are, in fact, one major criteria we look at when a risk assessment is carried out, we look at it, has the modification substantially changed the content of the organism? We must compare it with the nutritional quality and also the physical look of the organism. Are they the same? That is the basic things we look at. Have they produced new products that can cause toxins? Can they cause allergy? We look at it. Can they become toxic to humans or animals? Can they cause allergy? When you eat it, you have reactions in your body and so on. Then we also look at it from the environmental aspect of it. Have they become suddenly super organisms that are now displacing the conventional ones? Have they become, can they not cause non-target effects? For instance, if they are genetically modified to affect a particular insect, does it affect other insects? That is never allowed. Then apart from that, we also look at the socio-economic importance of the product. Do we look at it? Does it have any economic benefit to our nation, to our farmers? And if these things are confirmed to be beneficial, and there is no risk to humans or to animals, and we look at it that this thing can really enhance our economy, we have no reason why we should not say these things is safe. And then we also look at the history of safety of the material that has been used to cause the modification over the years, medically.
I know within the regulatory agencies, you have people out there who are good, you also have the bad eggs.
Yeah.
Now, in your opening statements, you talked about the fact that you collaborate, but your presence is not felt at the point of entry, talking about the borders, talking about the ports of entry. Now, how regular are your officials maybe doing follow-ups at the big malls? Because people experiment a lot. I could walk up to a shop and I see a particular species of maize and I want to give a try to it, yet maybe it has not, the safety issues have not been attended to, and I buy, it becomes a problem.
Okay, let me tell you.
How regular do you do this?
We do this regularly. Presently, there was that allegation that banana being sold in some of the superstores are genetically modified. We are presently, and we have gone there to purchase copies some of those banana. We are presently analyzing them to really find out whether these are genetically modified or not, because commercially there are no genetically modified banana within this region. So although we know that in Uganda, in South Africa, they are doing experiments and also they have commercial boards, for them to be imported in this country, we are looking at that possibility. They must, if they could come into the country, but at the same time, we are analyzing them. And also we go to the superstore. It will require that too, there are some of these products, like maybe black pepper that has been ground. You can never suspect them to contain genetically modified ingredients. But of course, when we analyze them, we discover that some of them also contain genetically modified ingredients.
And in the country?
Yes. Okay. They came into this country illegally, and we have had cause to impound them. And we told that was when we made that first announcement. And we told them they should be withdrawn from the shelves. And they have been withdrawn, all of them, because most of this actually predates before the coming in of the agency. And this agency, as I told you, is just about 2.5 years old. And it's not something you just wake up in the night and be able to
find
yourself
in the borders. You may not completely blame the owners of this shop. For instance, I own a shop. If I own a shop, for instance, and I want to stock, so that people will buy, I could just sit and I buy without knowing maybe the legal issues or regulatory issues about it. Yes,
that is why we have been doing a lot of awareness. We have even had meetings with the superstore owners for them to understand.
You meet with them regularly?
Yes, we have met with them, and some of them have actually picked the forms. But we have to work with NAFDAC, which has the overall regulatory function over foods. Because the Act is also gave NAFDAC some responsibility. But once it has been processed into food, NAFDAC has a major role to play in that regard. And we have recently signed MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with NAFDAC. The agency is doing what it needs to do to ensure that the safety of food in Nigeria as regards genetically modified foods is guaranteed. And Nigerians, all they need to do is to encourage the agency. The agency is still very new. Okay. Instead of crucifying him, I don't think that is the best.
Okay, there's this sort of, let me just put it, this is a layman question.
Okay.
That Nigeria is so fertile that if you throw a grain of maybe seed somewhere near a tile, so long as there's water on it, it grows. So why do we need GMOs in Nigeria?
You see, people ask this question. Why I don't like to answer questions that seem to promote GMO, because I'm supposed to be unbiased. They look at statements. See, as a regulator of the sector, I need to have enough knowledge to be able to talk about the technology. I should be able to say this is safe, this is not safe, this is important because this is. Genetically modified organisms are actually developed because they want to be developed. They are developed to solve specific problems. For instance, some of the disease-resistant ones actually developed because those diseases have not been able to solve them using conventional methods. So they have to move materials of genes, that is materials of inheritance that can combat such diseases into the organism. And let's say one thing, most of the genetically modified, they are not actually developed to increase size or to increase productivity, but they are to solve problems. For instance, it's like a sick child. Once that child is healthy, that child attains its full potentials. GMOs are not necessarily produced because they want to increase size or increase productivity, but
or meet food sufficiency.
What it is that it solves a particular problem. And once that problem is solved, the plant will now manifest its full potentials. Okay. That is what is actually happening. For instance, the genetically modified feed trial we have for cowpea, that is beans, in Institute of Agricultural Research in Zaria. It has been there since 2009. What they have found out so far is that the genetically modified beans can produce up to 100%. It can increase itself over 100%, unlike the conventional one, which is being destroyed by the pest. So when I make these statements, it is because these results are available to us. And these genetically modified organisms, they now multiply them. The essence is to suppress the pest. And now that the pest is no more there, the beans is now attaining its full potentials. People will now say, oh, the genetically modified beans has higher productivity. It is not because it has been produced to increase productivity. It has been produced to kill the particular pest that has always suppressed its productivity. So the beans will now come out with its full productivity. So that is the essence of genetic engineering, not necessarily to increase the size or to do anything, but it's like removing the pressure from it to attain its full potentials.
Now, the other aspect of it is that it is a threat, and it may render some product extinct. Yeah. Is it possible?
You see, in Nigeria, we have what is called a gene bank. All the conventional crops and some of the ones that have been in this country over the years, their genes are being conserved. They are being conserved. And again, I can tell you that all the genetically modified, all the crops we have in this country were not the original ones we had from the creation of life. They have been tampered with. So the issue of genetic engineering it is expected that, well, it is going to add another material into it to perform in a particular form. Why we are here is that when genetically modified organisms, before they are approved, we look at it, will it have adverse impact on its conventional counterpart? We ensure that this adverse impact is not there before they are approved. If it's going to have consequential impact on the conventional ones, they are never approved. They are never approved. So it is not for this thing to just be approved. And I think, I tell you, it takes a very long time before you can confirm any genetically modified organism safe. For it to develop, it takes between 7 to 13, 15 years. Then the risk assessment that is being carried out, like one has been on the field now since 2009. How many years now? 2009 to date. They have not even filed in for commercialization. It's still being experimented as ecological zones.
Are your safety checks limited only to plants?
No, to both animals and even fish.
What category are we looking at here?
All organisms that are genetically modified, both plants and animals. Once they are genetically modified, we ensure that we carry out risk assessment on them. For instance, if genetically modified fish suddenly becomes so big, for such fish can never be released into the wild, can never be released into the water bodies. It has to be too cultured. It has to be cultured domestically.
But if by chance it slips?
Well, we also ensure that there are risk assessment, risk management strategies that are put in place and contingency measures to ensure that these products are never brought very close to water bodies.
Okay, let me pose two questions to you now. One, you're viewed as coming to stop GMOs, and also a class or a group of people within your area of control, which is Nigeria, feel that you have also come to promote something that is a threat. So if I say give reassurance to those who are into GMOs to ensure they work with you so that they don't feel threatened by you, what will you be telling them? Our
laws are very clear. Ensure safety in the practice of modern biotechnology and the production of genetically modified organisms, and the handling and the use of genetically modified organisms must be safe. We are not here to stop GMOs. We are here to ensure that they are safe to humans, animals, and to the environment. So the idea of anybody thinking that we are here to stop them from selling GMOs, we are not here to stop them. We are not here to promote. We are supposed to be unbiased. But at the same time, you see, our responsibility is like it's a quasi-judicial function. Okay. And so we have to give judgment based on the verifiable scientific evidence we have. And at the same time, like INEC, when your party wins election, you say, oh, INEC is doing well. If they lose election, oh, your INEC is not doing well, it should be scrapped. That is the case we find ourselves. But at the same time, we just need to do the best we have for our country.
Moving forward, which way to go?
The way we move forward is that we ensure that there's a holistic biosafety. And
because
Nigerians...
What you're doing is that
yes,
your agency needs to sustain this talking, sustain conversation, sustain interaction, answering all the whys, the hows, the whens, and what for people to understand. So moving forward, in conclusion.
Yes, we will continue to enlighten Nigerians, sensitize Nigerians on our responsibility, and to assure Nigerians that, look, we are here to protect them. We are trying to ensure that this product is safe for economic prosperity of the people. We are not here to stop the product. We are not here to stop anybody from doing what is right, but we will always be available to talk to Nigerians. Anybody is free to talk to us. And I hope NT will give us more opportunity to talk to Nigerians on our roles.
If you be there to give us the information we need.
Yes, we are always available to
a lot of information needs to be churned out there for people to understand what you're doing.
We don't hold information. Even I've told you, ask any question you want to ask me, and I will answer you.
Because sometimes, somewhere, in as much as you're there to ensure safety of GMOs, we're told that if a particular species of GMO, say rice, GMO cassava, GMO banana, comes and is planted here, if it is planted here, by next season, you must go somewhere, that particular fertility is killed. We're giving all these pictures. When
I always tell people that, look, some of these things are just falsehood. They are not true. The World Health Organization and Food and Agricultural Organization, their position on GMOs are very, very clear. And I think the NBMA, National Biosecurity Management Agency, we always tell Nigerians the truth. It does not mean if you plant GMO here, you can no longer plant anything there. You can still plant anything you want to plant there. But if you don't want GMO maybe to fertilize, to pollinate you, if there are similar crops, you don't want them to pollinate your own crop, you don't plant it there. That does not mean, it does not have anything to do with the soil.
Okay.
These are scientific things that you can analyze. Some of this, as I said, there's a trade war, and those who are against the technology, really, they are poisoning the minds of people, or even wanting to even destroy the agency, and I think they can never do that. Okay. The agency is bigger than an individual.
Yeah. Now, the agency has been established. It has come to stay because it is backed up by law.
Yeah.
I know that arguments have been there for and against. Now, in a lot of places, some are still saying, let the agency be scrapped. Now, what does Nigeria stand to lose if your agency is scrapped? If there is no National Biosecurity Management Agency, it means we will eat whatever we cannot ascertain, which means, because even the issue of labeling, let me just come into that. The agency to ensure that these products are labeled so that consumer choice will be affected. You decide what you want to eat, you decide what you want. No matter, even if you say it's safe and you don't want to eat it, you don't eat it. So if anybody is calling for the scrapping of the agency, I see such people are very unpatriotic. They just want a situation whereby genetically modified organisms will be imported into this country without regulation. And I think it will not be healthy for us, which means that our food security will not be guaranteed, which means our environment, people can bring in any sort of materials that can come in and wipe out our ecosystem. And I think the agency's establishment is one of the best things that ever happened to this country. And all Nigerians need to support the agency. And I want to tell you one thing. You see, all those who have been talking against this agency have not one day visited the agency to find out what we are doing, or even spoken to us that, what tell us about this. But rather than want to go to National Assembly, they want to petition, they want to demonstrate. You need to demonstrate to say what you want. You don't need to belabor all those things. They have gone on all these things. That is not the best. If you want to a situation, go to the man that you have a case against and talk about the matter. They have even taken us to the courts. So what do they want? They don't want a biosafety system in Nigeria? See, and you will discover that those who are campaigning against all these things, there are people who have decided to see activism as a means of livelihood. Okay. And that is not the best. If you are an NGO, the essence of an NGO is to guide government positions, but not to vehemently come up with antagonism, attack government offices, vilify government agencies that have out to do their job. You don't talk to the agencies, but you write letters all over the place. You want to demonstrate, you want to go to court. How do you think that people will, such agency will even want to listen to you? Okay. Yeah, we have the facts. Come and find out the facts we have. We invite them for meetings, they don't want to come. But rather want to do, so they have an ulterior motive. Okay. If it is my face they don't like, it's unfortunate. Okay. I'm the DG. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rufus Ebegba, Director General, CEO, National Biosafety Management Agency.
Thank you.
It was nice talking with your insight.
Thank you, sir.
I hope and believe that Nigerians can now just oppose between food sufficiency and food safety. Up next. Yes, we are coasting home.
Yes, of course, the boat is sailing home. And then do not forget that in as much as you should put safety into cognizance, do not also forget that this administration is paying key attention to Nigerian content. You should key into it and be part of it. Till next week, same time. Join us again. For now, we say bye-bye.
Always just oppose safety with sufficiency. On behalf of all of us, thanks for watching.